الله الرحمن الرحيم بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يئوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate. All praises to Allah, the Creator of the universes and their Sustainer, the Provider of believers and unbelievers. And may His choicest blessings be on the seal of His prophets, the last of His messengers and His holy progeny. And in particular, may His incessant blessings flow on that beloved grandson of the Holy Prophet, on Hassanul Mujtaba, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. The Sunnite source of Tabari states that on one occasion, Imam Ali alayhi salam entered Masjidul Haram, and before going further decided to rest for a little while, so he sat down very close to the entrance of Masjidul Haram, and with him was his son Imam Hassan alayhi salam and other companions. There suddenly appeared an elegant person looking extremely pious and extremely imposing. He comes to Hazrat Amir alayhi salam, salutes him and says, I have heard of this problem on the question of the succession of the Prophet. I have come to you to ask you 3 questions. If you provide me answers to those 3 questions, that satisfies me, I will know that you are the true successor to the Holy Prophet. If on the other hand, you fail to provide me those answers to my satisfaction, then I will perhaps conclude that you and them are at the same level. You can see that this questioner is so learned and so astute. He does not at any time suggest that the other people are true successors. He says, I know of this controversy. If the answers are satisfactory, I will know you are the true successor. But even if the answers are not satisfactory, I will not conclude that the others are true successors. That he was not prepared to conclude under any circumstances. I will then know that perhaps you all are at par with each other. And Hazrat Amir alayhi salam says, yes, certainly, ask your questions. And he says, I have 3 questions. The first is this. The first of those questions is this. When a person goes to sleep, what happens to his soul? The second question is, what is this functioning? What is the philosophy? What is not the philosophy, what is the functioning whereby a person remembers things or forgets things? And thirdly, the question he asked was, how, when a person is born, in what circumstances does he resemble his uncles instead of resembling his parents? One knows situations in which children resemble their parents, but sometimes they resemble their uncles, sometimes their maternal uncles, sometimes their paternal uncles. How does all this come about? And Imam Ali alayhi salam, although he was the one who was challenged about his khilafah, turns round to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, as it were, and says, "Oh my son, you answer this sheikh," and calls him sheikh. So Imam Hassan alayhi salam embarks upon answering the questions. He says, to deal with your first question, what happens to the soul when a person goes to sleep? He says, when a person goes to sleep, the soul comes out of the body. It comes out of the body and it remains suspended in the air. Mu'alliq, it becomes suspended in the air, and in the air it becomes held up by space. So the space holds the air which holds the soul, and the person becomes asleep. He does not know what happens. When the time comes for him to wake up, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the decision. He decides whether that soul should go back into his body or whether it should go away and the person dies. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides that the soul should revert to the body, then the space pushes the air, activates the air in which the space is. The air activates the soul, and the soul returns to its original place in the body of the person sleeping. And hence the cycle is completed on that occasion and keeps repeated every time a person goes to sleep. If, on the other hand, Allah were to decide that the soul should not go back, then the space activates the soul upwards, pushes it, and the soul goes to its destination. We shall consider that question too. What is the destination of the soul? Presently, inshallah. And then Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, as for your second question, when does a person remember things and when does he forget? Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, in the mind, he uses the word qalb, which used to be translated as heart, but I think perhaps it's more accurate to translate it as mind. In the mind, there is a container, a spatial cavity, and that cavity has a lid on it. When someone wants to remember something and can't remember, if he were to recite salawat tamma, the complete salawat, in other words, not enough to say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, but he must say the complete salawat, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. When he includes the progeny of the Holy Prophet in that salawat, the cavity opens, the mind becomes lighter, and he remembers whatever he wants to remember. But if the person does not recite salawat in its full on the Holy Prophet and his progeny, ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, then that container remains closed on its lid and he forgets whatever even he wanted to remember. And as for the third question, as to how is it that a person sometimes, when born, resembles his parents, sometimes his uncles, the answer to that is this: when the man meets with his partner, if his state in which he meets his partner, and there is so much knowledge in this, if he meets his partner in a state in which he is cool, calm and collected, his nerves are soothed and calm, and he is not shaking, he is balanced, well balanced, then when the sperm rests in the womb of his partner, the child that is born takes the shape of the mother, resembles the mother or the father. But if the father is in a state in which he is nervous, or he is himself shaking, or is not in a peaceful state of mind, then the sperm shakes as it is emitted. And that shaking means it collides with other genes. If the genes, and one can see Imam Hassan alayhi salam talking in terms of genes centuries ago, if those genes collide with the genes of his uncle, maternal uncle, the child turns out resembling maternal uncle. And if the sperms collide with genes of the paternal uncles, then the child is born resembling paternal uncles. And the Shaykh immediately kisses the forehead of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, stands erect before Hazrat Amir alayhi salam, and this is reported in the Sunnite source of Tabari. Stands before Hazrat Amir alayhi salam and says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, I testify there is no God except Allah, and I testify that truly Muhammad was his true and last messenger. And I testify that you, although the answers were given by Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he points to Hazrat Amir alayhi salam and says, I testify that you are the true successor and the immediate successor to that messenger of Allah, and a true representative of Allah, Hujjatullah, today. And then turns to Imam Hassan alayhi salam and says, I testify that you too are his true successor, pointing to Imam Ali alayhi salam, says you are his true successor, and truly you too are a hujjah of Allah on earth. And then says, and I further testify, and this is the fantastic part of that hadith. From the religious angle, from the scientific angle, you can see how much Imam Hassan alayhi salam elaborated on matters totally unknown in that era. He says, and I testify that your son, pointing to Hazrat Amir, your son Hussein is his, pointing to Hazrat Imam Hassan, is his true successor, and he too is a hujjah of Allah. And then says, and I further testify that Hussein's son Ali is also a true successor of Hussein and a true hujjah of Allah. Look at the way he goes on, and he moves on Imam after Imam, and he says Ali's son Muhammad is a true successor of Ali, and he too will be a hujjah of Allah, and his son Ja'far is a true successor of Muhammad, he too. And he proceeds to give names of each Imam following one after the other. And then he comes to Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam and says, and then Ali's son Hassan will be his true successor, and he too will be the hujjah of Allah, and then he will have a son whose name should not be mentioned, and whose kunniyah should not be mentioned, and he will be the one who will yamla'ul ardu qistan wa adla, he will spread justice and peace on this earth, just as it will have been filled with injustices and inequities. And so saying, he says, Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and moves away from there. Imam Ali alayhi salam turns to Imam Hassan alayhi salam and says, Oh Hassan, did you recognize this person? Imam Hassan alayhi salam, of course, does not say that he did not. He says, Allah, his Rasul, his messenger, and you are better, are a'lam, know better in respect of the identity of the person. And so Imam Ali alayhi salam says, chase him, follow him, see where he goes. Imam Hassan alayhi salam immediately follows the footsteps that the person left. Just as he leaves Masjid al-Haram, the footsteps vanish and the person vanishes too. Imam Hassan alayhi salam comes back, reports the entire episode to Imam Ali alayhi salam, and Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Ya Hassan, that was Nabi Khidr. That was Nabi Khidr. Isn't this a fantastic situation? How much can I elevate your understanding of the Imam alayhi salam tonight? And indeed I have dedicated that night to that purpose. Nabi Khizr, as you know, is a person who Quran describes as having met Nabi Musa. And tomorrow night we shall discuss this in some detail when we are discussing the replies of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. And how when he meets Nabi Musa, he breaks the boat, he kills the youth, he breaks down the wall. And Nabi Musa is astounded on each occasion, says, "Oh Sheikh," not realizing who he is talking to, "What are you?" No, he did. He accompanied Khizr. He accompanied Khizr on condition that he should be patient. He loses his patience. He is unable to understand what Khizr is doing. Before Khizr says, "Now, firaq bayni wa baynakum," now we are going to separate from here. I cannot bear having you anymore. So Nabi Musa says, "Oh Khizr, at least explain me some of these things. What were you doing?" And Nabi Khizr explains Nabi Musa what he did and why he did. I will not take your time going through those incidents, very well known incidents, I'm sure within your knowledge and well set out in the Holy Quran. You can see that a person who teaches Nabi Musa all these secrets turns round to Imam Hassan alayhi salam to learn from Imam Hassan alayhi salam details of scientific matters which Imam Hassan alayhi salam elucidates and elaborates to him upon. That is the level of Imam Hassan alayhi salam educating a prophet of Allah who is in ghaibah on earth till today. So that is the Hassan alayhi salam that we are talking about. These sittings are to understand him, and one subject that enables us to understand him properly is this particular hadith. And going further from that, again Tabari, again it is Tabari who reports this other hadith that is set out in his Ihtijaj at page 266. He says that on an occasion when Imam Ali alayhi salam was in Kufa, a person comes up to him and says, "Ya Ali, I present my salutes to you and I wish to ask you questions." Imam Ali alayhi salam turns around, looks at him and says, "Who are you?" So he says, "I am amongst your subjects and I am your national. I am in your raya, I am one of your subjects indeed." So Imam Ali alayhi salam says, "If I had seen you even once before in my raya, as my subjects, or if you had come to wish me, to present greetings to me even once before, I would have remembered you. But I don't remember you. Have you committed an offense before entering my country?" And he says, "No." So Imam Ali says, "Are you a warrior? Are you a soldier? Is that what you are worried about?" And he says, "Yes, I was a soldier." So Imam Ali alayhi salam says, "Is this war that you are concerned with over? Are you now in a state of peace?" He says, "Yes, all that is over. I've entered this town, this city, in a state of peace." So Imam Ali alayhi salam says, "Don't worry. What is your question?" So he says that one of the leading Christians of the time, Ibn Asfar, has asked Muawiyah some 8 questions. And he says, "I'm not going to hide any truth from you, Ya Ali." He couldn't have anyway. Has asked him 8 questions. Muawiyah is not able to answer them. And hence, to cover his situation, he has sent me over to you. You can see that these secrets don't even get hidden on these occasions. He has sent me over to you to ask you these questions. And Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he hears the name of Muawiyah, he says, "Allah's woe may be on Muawiyah. He has killed my kith and kin. He has wasted useful time of my life. time which Imam Ali alayhi salam could have so well spent in advancing the cause of Islam. Indeed, we regret it today that Imam Ali alayhi salam was deprived that time, because if that time had been available to him, how much more better Muslims we would have been today than we indeed are, and how much more knowledge we would have got. So Imam Ali alayhi salam says, he wasted my time. But ask your questions. When we consider that ayah, that Allah has decided that He will remove all unpleasantness, all wrong things, all vices from Ahlul Bayt, وَيُطَهِّرَهُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, and He will purify them. You can see that reality functioning. Imam Ali alayhi salam not entertaining the slightest of jealousy. Muawiyah has been asked these questions. He is not able to answer them. Why should Imam Ali alayhi salam provide them answers? But the level of وَيُطَهِّرَهُمْ تَطْهِيرًا is a different one. In that level of purity, such thoughts don't enter your mind. You are too pure even to think about these things. He instantly says, yes, you can ask your questions, but hold on. Calls his children out. And 3 of his sons were available, who immediately come out. Imam Hassan alayhi salam comes out, Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes out, and Muhammad Hanafiya comes out. He turns round to the questioner. Look at the extent of knowledge that flows from this family. He does not know the questions. He has not heard the questions. Of course, from his ilm of imamah, he might have known the questions, but he hasn't even heard them. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya was no imam. He calls those 3 of them. He says, these 2, that is Hassanain alayhim salam, are the sons of the Holy Prophet. This one, Muhammad Hanafiya, is my son. You address your question to any of them that you like to ask. And according to Tabari, the Shami, the fellow from Damascus, turns to Imam Hassan and says, I will ask this lad with long hair. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, yes, ask him the question. So he shoots out his 8 questions. He says, firstly, tell me, what is the distance between what is the distance between truth and falsehood? Secondly, what is the distance between the earth and the skies and the heavens? Thirdly, what is the distance between the east and the west? Fourthly, what is a rainbow? Fifthly, when a mushrik dies, an infidel dies, what happens to his soul? Where does it go? Sixthly, when a Mu'min dies, where does his soul go? And then he asks, what is a hermaphrodite? A hermaphrodite, as we understand, what is it? And finally, eighthly, what are the 8 tough things, one tougher than the other? And Imam Hassan alayhi salam promptly embarks upon answering those questions. There is not a second lost in thinking about those questions. He embarks straight away to answering them. He says, between haqq and batil, between truth and falsehood, the difference is 4 fingers. That which you see with your eyes is haqq. That which you hear with your ears is often false. And the distance between the ear and the eyes is 4 fingers. That is the distance between truth and falsehood. This man says, Saddaqta yabna Rasulillah, how true, how correct is your answer. What you see is the truth. What you only hear of may be totally false. The second question, what is the distance between the earth and the sky? He says, Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, the distance is the distance that the dua takes to travel to Allah from a person who has been wronged, from a madhloom. The dua of a madhloom, the time it takes from the time he makes the dua to the time it reaches the heavens, is that period, is the distance between the earth and the sky. Or, if that is difficult for you to understand, the sharpness of the sight, as far as your sight can sharply go, is the distance between the earth and the sky. And if you want to know What is the distance between the east and the west? Look at the sun when it rises. Look at the sun when it sets. That is the period of span. That is the distance between east and west. And then he says, you are asking about the rainbow. And the word he used was qawsu farh, qawsu fazh. And Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, don't call it like that. Don't call it in that way at all. Because he says fazh is the name of shaitan. And qaws is the bow of Allah. But the rainbow, as you see it, is a sign of fertility. Look at the scientific explanation of energy there, and the different colors and different light. Indeed, it is the physics of light that applies. It says it's a sign of fertility, and that is what saves the earth from being drowned away. And as for your fifth question, as to where does the soul of the mushrik go, he says the soul of the mushrik goes to Barhut, Wadiul Barhut. That's a special valley assigned by Allah where souls of mushrikeen accumulate, and the souls of mu'mineen go to Wadiul Salam. That is where their souls gather. You ask, what is a hermaphrodite? Then a hermaphrodite is one about whose gender it is not easy to determine, but it is determined in this way. If the person is able to ejaculate, he is a man, not a woman under any circumstances. If he is a person who has menstruation and develops breasts, then he is a woman. But another sign is this: the person should be made to urinate against a wall. If the stream flows over the wall, he is a man. If it drops and doesn't reach the wall, he is a woman. That is how you differentiate. You make out on a hermaphrodite whether he is a man or a woman. And then he says, you ask me the last 8 questions. What are the 10 tough things that Allah has created, one tougher than the other? And Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, the first tough thing that Allah has created is a rock. Rock is a very tough thing in the world. But then Allah created iron, and iron is tougher than rock. Indeed, you can cut the rock with iron. We see that happening much more these days as tunnels are made. And then Allah created fire. Fire is tougher than iron because it can melt iron. But fourthly, water is tougher than fire because water can extinguish fire. But fifthly, wind is stronger than water. Sorry, cloud is stronger than water because cloud holds water. So that is an accumulation of water, is stronger than water per se. Sixthly, wind is stronger than cloud because the wind blows the cloud wherever it wants to take it. But seventhly, there is an angel which controls and directs the wind, the direction of the wind, the speed of the wind, whether it becomes a hurricane, whether it becomes a cyclone. And that angel therefore is stronger than even wind. But eighthly, stronger than that malak is Malakul Maut, because Malakul Maut can cause the death of that angel. The angel of death can bring about the death of that angel. So he is stronger than that angel. But then ninthly, death itself is stronger than even Malakul Maut, than the angel of death, because death will come even to the angel of death. And finally, strongest of them all is the Amr, the will of Allah, because it is when the will of Allah comes that death comes. Death cannot come without the will of Allah. That then is the strongest of anything, the toughest of anything that Allah has ever created. Hearing this, the person says, your answers are indeed so beautiful. Turns to Hazrat Amir alayhi salam and says, I hereby testify that you are the true successor. And look at this, that you are the true successor of the Holy Prophet, and Muawiyah is a false person. He is an impostor and has no right to this succession at all. But so having said, he writes the answers out for Muawiyah. And Muawiyah then sends all those answers to Ibn Asfar, who asked for those questions. When Ibn Asfar receives those answers, he writes back promptly to Muawiyah and says, "O Muawiyah, aren't you ashamed to have sent me these answers? You did not know these answers. You are sending me words which are not your words. You are sending me answers that are not your answers. You first were satisfied me that you were ignorant of these answers. You are now telling me that you are even a liar about these answers. These you are incapable of giving. These are answers that can only come from him who is a true successor of the Holy Prophet of Allah, whom Allah has selected and sent." Such is the way in which Imam Hassan alayhi salam not only showed knowledge that he had without a second thought, which is exactly what you would expect an imam to do, a true hujjatullah, as the Prophet himself said in respect of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. But it also shows how much he exhumed and disseminated that knowledge. Imam Ali alayhi salam, of course, not needing a second thought to ask Imam Hassan alayhi salam to provide those answers. Those both come from Sunnite source. And a third one that I wish to put to you, because entirely of the wisdom and depth that is contained in it, comes from Ibn Asakir in his Tarjuma, Imam Hassan ibn Ali alayhi salam, min Tarikh Madinati Damashq, at page 165. Ibn Asakir says that Imam Hassan alayhi salam was once in the court of Muawiyah on some business. And Muawiyah turns round to him. There is no question of Muawiyah not knowing where true Imamah lies. There is no question of the world not knowing where the repository of knowledge is. He turns round and says, "Oh, Yabna Rasulillah, can you tell me what is manhood?" And this is a fantastic subject. Imam Hassan alayhi salam immediately defines manhood. He says, manhood is in that rajul, that man, who has three qualities. First of all, he has knowledge of his religion, so that he can return to his Allah in a state of being a good servant of Allah. And that, he says, is the fundamental matter, the first matter, knowledge of his religion. Secondly, he is looking after his livelihood. He must not be a person who needs to depend on other people for his livelihood. He must not be a person who has to beg to live. He must not be a person who has to contrive machinations to obtain assignments in order to lead his life. He must be a person who can earn lawful livelihood in an honorable way and looks after that livelihood. And thirdly, he says, he must be a person who is gentle in his conduct and in his mannerism, in his etiquette, in his behavior with other people. Those are the three qualities, as it were, to reach us, that Imam Hassan alayhi salam expects of us, to create in us what is manhood. But then Muawiyah, learning all this, and his courtiers learning all this, asks a second question. He says, "Yabna Rasulillah, tell me what is nobility?" And on nobility, Imam Hassan alayhi salam says, the first quality of nobility is to protect your neighbor. Didn't Imam Hassan alayhi salam learn that beautifully from his mother? The night she remained in prayer all night, praying for neighbors and not praying for herself. And when Imam Hassan asks her, she says, "Awwal jar wa ba'ad dar." And so Imam Hassan alayhi salam on nobility says, the first quality that makes out a noble man is his protection of his neighbor. The second is that he should keep away from unpleasant things, unpleasant talk, unpleasant sight, unpleasant behavior, unpleasant gesture, unpleasant method of walking. He should be to be a noble person, he needs to avoid all those unpleasant matters of life. And then he says he must be a person who has that kind of behavior which is all smooth. People be pleased to speak to him. So first, looking after neighbors. Secondly, avoiding unpleasantness. And thirdly, sabr alal naibah. He should have patience in calamities. When a calamity falls, he does not lose hope altogether. He does not collapse on that moment. He has patience and bears the calamity with patience. And who better person to teach that patience than Imam Hassan alayhi salam, after all the patience that he demonstrated in his life. And then Muawiyah says, what is Jude? What is generosity? Now, maybe that word Jude is not properly translated into English by its translation generosity, because Jude really is that kind of generosity which does not connote any inkling of a return. You give charity to the Labour Party in London. Of course it's charity, £1 million. But of course you hope that someday you will be made a peer, you will be made a lord, a member of the House of Lords by the Labour Party. I deliberately talk of the Labour Party because I'm not well acquainted with the politics here. But surely that's what happens in UK. There is that reason for giving that donation. The question is, what is that donation which is free, with no strings attached to it at all? And Imam Hassan alayhi salam says to make a general donation in a cause. That is Jude, because there you do not have strings attached, you do not expect anything in return from anybody. Tabarru' bil ma'ruf, donation of a general nature. Secondly, to grant before you are asked, not to wait until somebody asks for something and then to give, but to give even before asking, he says, is Jude. And thirdly, to give out food when there is drought. It's easy to give food when everybody has food, but when there is drought, to come out and provide food to those who are starvation stricken, he says, is Jude. Time is passing and we must move on from the knowledge of Imam Hassan alayhi salam to politics. But before I do so, I wanted to convey a special message to the youths from Imam Hassan alayhi salam. And I thought, if I owed anything to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, it surely is this, that in this sitting I should convey that message to the youths. And that message is again well set out in a Sunnite source. You will find it in Tarjuma Imam Hassan bin Ali alayhi salam min Tarikh Madinatu Dimashq, reported by Sharhabil. He says that on one occasion Imam Hassan alayhi salam called all the youths, all his sons, all his children, and all the children of his brothers. And when all the youths were accumulated there, he says, you are all youths today, but soon you will become the leaders of the community. Soon you will grow up and you will be the leaders of the community. And I have one particular advice to you all, only because shortly you will be leaders, and that is, seek knowledge and obtain knowledge. Do you remember in the first one, when we were discussing manlyhood, he said first quality is he must have knowledge of his religion. Here he does not even qualify. He says seek knowledge and be knowledgeable people, be learned people. And if you are one of those who cannot memorize things that are taught but you can't remember, make a note of them, write them all down, and make sure that you preserve those notes in your home so that they are accessible and available to you as and when you like it. So that message of Imam Hassan alayhi salam must be brought home to the youth, that what he required youth is to have knowledge. Indeed, it is the community of knowledgeable people, it is the community of learned people that will make progress, that will advance. A community of people who are not learned, who are not knowledgeable, who are not educated, can have no hope of success, particularly in the life of today. Indeed, Imam Hassan alayhi salam may very well have had another thing in mind, that it is knowledge that can bring about intelligence. The two don't always go together. But one way to become an intelligent person is to acquire knowledge, because knowledge helps in sharpening intelligence. And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has said that no unintelligent person will go to heaven. There is no room in Jannah for fools. It is only the intelligent people who will find place in heaven. Hence the great need that the ummah should be ummah of learned people, of knowledgeable people. And that is how Imam Hassan alayhi salam advanced his cause. One often feels that if that was the personality that was allowed to succeed Imam Ali alayhi salam in a manner in which he conducted the administration of the Islamic Commonwealth, where would the Commonwealth be today? Indeed, immediately after the martyrdom of Imam Ali alayhi salam, it was on the 21st of Ramadan in Masjid al-Kufa that Imam Hassan alayhi salam held his first court. And of course he announced the departure of his illustrious father, and having done so, received condolences, and makes then his first sermon, his first khutbah, and says to them that those who know me, man arrafani, but those who don't know me, let me tell you that I am not only the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhim as-salam, not only am I his appointed wasi, in other words entitled to be his successor, I am the son of the Holy Prophet, and then sets out a number of his qualities, that I am the son of Fatimatu Zahra, I am the son of Khadijatul Kubra. All these are gigantic names in the annals of Islam, traces his progeny there, and then goes to those ayats of Quran that we have already mentioned, turns round and says, I am one of those who is entitled and who is included in the ayah of Tathir, when Allah says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبُ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْزَ أَهْلُ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. I am included in it. And when he turns round and says, when Allah turns round and says, O Holy Prophet, tell them, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. I do not seek any recompense from you except love for my nearest of kin. Then I am that nearest of kin. And when it says, وَآتِي ذِي الْقُرْبَى حَقَّهُ, give the nearest of kin of the Holy Prophet their right, I am the person who is entitled to that right. Now, if you have a person who is purified to that level, you can see the kind of government that he will administer. He sets all those qualities out in his speech. And then, as he pauses, Ibn Abbas stands up and says, Ayyuhan nas, when did we see a person on this earth after the Prophet better than Ali? And today, when the Prophet has gone away, and Imam Ali alayhi salam has gone away, where is a person on this earth better, nobler, more knowledgeable, more pious than Hassan, the son of Ali alayhi salam? I therefore am the first to make his bay'ah, because I know that he is the true successor of Ali. And a number of people then made speeches. Indeed, we do not have the occasion this evening to sit down and set out those speeches. But some of those speeches truly set out some of the things that we have discussed. Some of them clearly said, Ya Hassan, I remember the days of the Holy Prophet. I remember the days when the Prophet would carry you on the shoulders. Those foundations we laid earlier on in these sittings. He would carry you on the shoulders and would say, I love Hassan, and whoever loves me should love Hassan. Turns around and says, Hassan, we love you for the sake of the Prophet. We love you for your own virtues and merits. And all those attributes of Imam Hassan alayhi salam given by the Holy Prophet were reiterated in Masjid al-Kufa on that occasion, on the 21st of Ramadan, in the 40th year after Hijrah. And they were all so important. I say this for a good purpose. And when all those were reiterated, all of them made bay'ah of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, and Imam Hassan alayhi salam instantly embarked upon work. He instantly, for example, appointed Ibn Abbas to be the governor of Basra and sent him out there and set out on his administration. Soon, when Muawiyah came to know that this is what is going on, and felt that his claim to Khilafah is being shattered once again, is in jeopardy, he started his maneuvers. I pause to ask, if Imam Hassan ma'adallah was a weak person, as some critics seek to call him, would Muawiyah have been shivering the moment he heard that Imam Hassan alayhi salam has taken charge? Would he have started maneuvering and creating machinations and treachery? He would have sat back and said, who is worried? And he did sit back on a number of occasions when others confronted him, including Aisha, and he dealt with Aisha in the manner that you would expect Muawiyah to deal with her. But the moment Hassan alayhi salam takes charge, Muawiyah is now already shivering. He sends people out, sends one particular person to Kufa, one particular person to Basra to investigate what is going on, to create fitna, to create dissension amongst the people. Imam Hassan alayhi salam immediately obtains his information intelligence. He is in Kufa himself, calls up the man who is in Kufa and charges him with causing treason in the Islamic Commonwealth. Similarly orders the governor of Basra to do so. Both of them get convicted and both of them are executed in public. You can see the promptness with which Imam Hassan alayhi salam deals with this matter and instantly writes a stern letter to Muawiyah. Irshad gives you all this from Sheikh Mufid. Sheikh Saduq gives all this. Leave those Shiite sources aside. Ibn Asakir gives all those details in Tarjuma Hassan ibn Ali min Medina to Damashq. All those details are in that work of Ibn Asakir, the leading Sunnite historian on the point. And Imam Hassan alayhi salam writes a stern letter, and these letters are available too. Writes a stern letter to Muawiyah saying, "Oh Muawiyah, I notice that since I have taken charge, you have already started these machinations, and we have already arrested 2 people and have already executed them. I want this stopped altogether. It appears from your activities that what you deserve is a battle between us." This is Imam Hassan alayhi salam writing this letter. What it appears that you are due to be confronted by me in a battlefield that only will resolve your situation, and hence, if that is what you are seeking, then I will be prepared to start a battle against you. Is this the letter from a weak person? Is this a letter from a politician who does not know what he is doing? Is this a person whom you would not call a politician? He immediately takes steps to fortify and strengthen the Islamic Commonwealth. Muawiyah writes back saying, no, I haven't sent these people. They have nothing to do with me. You can see how he retreats and withdraws. And Imam Hassan alayhi salam puts in a stern reply saying, "Oh Muawiyah, you are a liar." And calls him so. And says, "You have abundant of evidence. Stop this altogether. And if you do not stop it, I will set out on a march against you." Indeed, by that time then, Muawiyah feeling that if Imam Hassan alayhi salam starts out on a march, he will be at a disadvantage. Muawiyah sets out. And immediately Imam Hassan alayhi salam receives the news that Muawiyah has set out. He calls Hujr bin Adi and says, "Oh Hujr, accumulate our army." And immediately Hujr accumulates a large army which sets out straight away out of Kufa in order to confront Muawiyah and attack him and battle him out. People tend to say that Imam Hassan alayhi salam made sulh. Imam Hussein alayhi salam went out to fight. Isn't the reality exactly the opposite? Imam Hassan alayhi salam never wanted to make sulh. He, as I say, wrote, and this is established in Sunnite sources too, he wrote letters saying, "We'll battle it out." And the moment he hears Muawiyah has sent out an army, he sends out a large army from Kufa, and the army is set out. It is set out under Ubaidullah bin Abbas. And Ubaidullah bin Abbas is told clearly that in case something happens to you, as is generally done by strong commanders of the type of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, then immediately Qais bin Sa'ad should take over from you. And under that leadership, army accumulated by Hujr bin Adi, the army sets out to meet Muawiyah, and at a certain bridge, that army stops to seek further orders from Imam Hassan alayhi salam. In the meantime, Imam Hassan alayhi salam moves out of Kufa himself with another battalion of army and joins this army where they already had paused to wait for the army of Muawiyah. Tomorrow, inshallah, we shall make progress on that, because tonight we have another assignment to complete also. We have talked of how Imam Hassan alayhi salam resembled the Holy Prophet. Likewise, tonight we have to think of that other youthful personality who so much resembled the Holy Prophet, this time the son of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Shahzada Ali Akbar. And this was his great quality of Shahzada Ali Akbar, that he so much resembled the Holy Prophet. Indeed, of him it is said that when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was moving on his journey from having covered Makkah, now on his way to Kufa, on the way as they were traveling late at night, Imam Hussein alayhi salam was taken over by sleep. And the moment Shahzada Ali Akbar saw that Imam Hussein alayhi salam is sleeping and is closing his eyes, he immediately turns to the right of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Of course, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas to the left of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, so that he is properly guarded, so that in case in his sleep something happens, an arrow comes, he triples, his horse triples, then immediately there are two to give him protection. That is how those two always carried on with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And when he wakes up, Shahzada Ali Akbar says, "Father, I see 40 wings overtook you." Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, "Yes, my son. But when those wings overtook me, I saw a dream. I saw a group of people coming from the opposite side, turning to us and saying, 'What a group of pilgrims you are. We are running away from death and coming this way. Yours is a caravan that is leading itself to death.'" One would have thought Shahzada Ali Akbar would be worried about hearing this news of death. Indeed, Shahzada Ali Akbar turns round to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and says, "O father, alasna bil haq? Are we not on truth? Are we not on the correct path?" And Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, "May Allah reward you for this question. Indeed, we are on correct path." Shahzada Ali Akbar says, "O father, if we are on the correct path, then what does it matter whether death overtakes us or we jump over death and overtake death?" And that is exactly how Shahzada Ali Akbar conducted himself since morning on the day of Ashura. Whenever Imam Hussein alayhi salam set out, Shahzada Ali Akbar along with him to make sure that he protects him at every stage of the day, until a time comes when Shahzad Ali Akbar comes to Imam Hussain alayhi salam and says, Father, you must now allow me to go and fight. And Imam says, Oh Akbar, how can I allow you, 18 years son of mine, to go and reach death in this way? And Shahzad Ali Akbar says, Oh Father, what choice have I got? I kept you company as long throughout the day as I could. Now the position is that only you and I are left. I cannot bear the situation in which something would happen to you and I would be alive. You must therefore allow me now to go and battle it out with this kafir. Imam Hussain alayhi salam says, Akbar, your auntie Zainab has taken so much trouble in bringing you up. You go and bid her farewell, get her approval, and then you can go into the path of Allah. And indeed, when Shahzad Ali Akbar comes in to meet the ladies, Hamid ibn Muslim says he was surrounded by ladies. Wa Akbara, Wa Akbara was the signal all right. The children surrounded him and said, Akbar, don't go. Akbar says, I will go and fight the kuffar. He still is in that valla. And Sakina says, Akbar, whoever has gone out since morning has not come back alive. What will I say to Sughra if you go away? What answer will I give to Sughra? Akbar, we cannot let you go like this. Hamid ibn Muslim says that he saw the curtain of the tent of the ladies being lifted 7 times. It would be lifted. Akbar would come out. He would again be surrounded by the ladies, would be drawn in again. The curtain would drop 7 times. The curtain. One could see how hard it was for these ladies to see Akbar go, to see Akbar lost forever. And yet the time came when Akbar came out for the tent. How is Hussein now to say Khuda Hafiz to Akbar? How is Hussein to bid farewell to this beloved son? Allah, he turns to Allah and says, Ya Allah, whenever I wanted to make ziyarah of your prophet, of your messenger, my grandmother, I would look at Akbar and I would make the ziyarah of the Holy Prophet. I am now sending to your path. I am now sending him to fight for your religion, who resembled your prophet from top to toe, not only in appearance but also in conduct. Indeed, when Akbar got into the battlefield, people became shuddered. They turned to Umar ibn Sa'd and said, Umar, the Holy Prophet has himself come to fight for Hussein alayhi salam. He has made himself young and has come into Karbala. We will not fight this young man until Umar ibn Sa'd had to come out and say, this is not Muhammad himself. This is Akbar, this is the son of Hussein. And indeed a barrage of arrows went on to Akbar. He fought his way through, but alas, that time had to come when he called his father, Assalamu alayka ya abati. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is reported to have said that the moment he heard that sound, he lost the light in his eyes. He couldn't see. Now Imam Hussain alayhi salam struggling his way through to the place where to Ali Akbar is. Ali Akbar, in that thirst, Imam Hussain alayhi salam turns round and says, Akbar, I am ashamed that you, young son, should be going away, having fought so valiantly. Your father cannot even give you a drop of water. Akbar, how hard for a father to say Khuda Hafiz to that son who is going with thirst of 3 days. But Akbar, being Akbar, turns to his father and says, Oh my father, repent not for that. Don't be sorry for that. I see the Prophet coming with a jar of water for me. I will soon be quenched. But oh Father, I leave you thirsty. I am not able to give you that bit of water. Again, you still have a few hours of thirst and hours that will be spent without me. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة